finding the power to turn the page and reach stunning success.
What we're trying to do is create kind of the epicenter of black commerce.
Despite painful division.
I don't remember a time of not being aware of racism.
We were, frankly, afraid.
Unthinkable adversity.
I got chased in a truck being called the N-word and thrown stuff at.
And a lack of representation.
You just didn't have all of those books that showed me or talked about my hair.
I've never seen anybody that looked like me, sound like me, had swag like me.
We're hearing from black business owners, local leaders, and community members.
Most of our clothing here is handmade in Ghana.
I don't think they realized what they did was that they actually integrated the city.
Ginger Rutland, KCRA News, Sacramento.
About what it took for them to get where they are.
I came of age in the 60s, and I grew up watching the civil rights movement.
You know, it's really all of us working together, but it's the right thing.
Why their mission is so important.
I want us to be reminded of the resiliency of our race.
People are trying to be open to black individuals.
And how they're hoping to inspire others.
If people don't benefit, if the community doesn't benefit, then we're doing something wrong. And to me, that's black excellence.
In a KCRA3 Project Community Special, celebrating Black History Month.
And this month we celebrate the achievements of African Americans.
It's time for us to recognize their central role in U.S. history, including triumphs and adversities.
February was chosen mostly because the month includes the birthdays of Abraham Lincoln and Frederick Douglass. It has traditionally been a time when African Americans have held celebrations in honor of emancipation.
And today we are celebrating leaders, business owners, and community members who are making a difference in our area and beyond.
We start in the city of Tracy, where I spoke with the city's first African American mayor, Dr. Nancy Young.
We are still making first. We're still making first as people of color. We're still making first as women. It seems like we would have come such a longer way by now. So right now, for me, it's still surreal.
Still hard for Dr. Nancy Young to believe she's mayor even 2 years after her election. Seen here in a city council meeting this month, Dr. Young is only the second African-American council member in Tracy's history and the first African-American to be elected mayor.
It's still an awe that I feel every time that I walk into City Hall.
The second child of 5, she spent her early years in Compton during the height of the Blood Crips gang war. The violence that surrounded her shaped who she is today.
There were just certain ways that we carried ourselves. I learned how to look people in the eye. I learned how to talk to people right away to make them feel that, you know, I'm not a threat to you and I don't want to feel like you're a threat to me. I mean, I went to school, I was in class with Crips and Bloods, many that didn't even make it, that didn't live and to see high school graduation.
Then when she was 13, the family moved to San Fernando. It was there her love for politics began. On student council in middle school, student body president in high school, and even aspiring to take the nation's top job.
I was going to stop and be an anchor woman, then I was going to be president of the United States.
Dr. Young, a minister, wife, mother, and grandmother, has authored 7 published books. Since her election, she's seen the city council become more diverse, and Dr. Young is looking forward to what the future holds.
And every year there is a theme for Black History Month, and this year it focuses on the importance of black health and wellness. The theme honors medical scholars and healthcare providers, and of course it's especially timely as we enter the 3rd year of the COVID pandemic, which has disproportionately affected minority communities. Tonight we celebrate the achievement of a Sacramento doctor. That would be Dr. Jennifer Overby, who was recently honored with the Methodist Hospital's 2021 Physician of the Year Award. She's the first African American to get that honor.
And now we want to reintroduce you to a woman who once worked right here at KCRA. Ginger Rutland was the station's first female African-American TV reporter.
No welcome is more appropriate for a Viking king.
She was a familiar face on TV screens in Northern California in the 1970s.
Ginger Rutland, KCRA News, Sacramento.
A twin, the youngest of 4 children, Ginger Rutland's family moved to Sacramento when she was 4. She attended McClatchy High School. Years later, after getting a history degree from Howard University, Ginger returned home, becoming the first African-American female TV reporter at KCRA.
I grew up in the 60s. I came of age in the 60s, and I grew up watching the civil rights movement, and I was quite, inspired by the journalists I saw on television and I read in the newspapers, and so I thought, I want to be a journalist.
On the job, Ginger said she was treated fairly, but says there were some parts of Northern California she refused to go because of her race.
I did not want to go to Placer County or Nevada County or any of the rural areas with a black cameraman. We were, frankly, afraid.
While at KCRA, Ginger met and married her husband, and they had their daughter. After nearly a decade, she moved on, working for a Bay Area TV station as their Capitol reporter.
I reported on Jerry Brown's first incarnation as governor, and I went to New Hampshire when he ran for president, and I guess my biggest story there was the opening of the Diablo Canyon nuclear power plant.
Here is the Emmy.
It's an award for that story on the plant that she shares with her husband, who became her producer. Years later, Ginger would say goodbye to TV news, landing a job on the editorial board at the Sacramento Bee.
I thought I was going to go to NBC, ABC, CBS, and all of those things. My goal was, frankly, to be the CBS correspondent in Paris. And as I look back, I thought, that was really not a good career move for me. I grew up in Sacramento. I knew Sacramento, and my advantage for a bunch of reasons was that I knew this town really well. And I think that was an asset as a reporter.
Now, Ginger writes opinion articles in the paper. And she also published a book, which she eventually turned into a play. It's a memoir from her mother titled When We Were Colored.
It's a story about what it's like to move from a fully segregated world to suddenly an integrated world.
As Ginger looks back on her journey from reporter to writer and playwright, she says her TV career was one for the history books.
It was a great ride.
And Ginger says she is most proud of the story she did that led to changes in the law.
What an incredible woman.
Incredible indeed.
Good story, Brandy. Our next story is about the president of the University of California system.
We learned Dr. Michael Drake spent time in the Sacramento area, graduating from McClatchy High School.
The oldest one's a public service award from when I was a medical student.
Dr. Michael V. Drake is the 21st president of the UC system and the first African-American president in its 125-year history. You may know his name and his title, but you probably don't know his story.
I mean, I don't remember a time of not being aware of racism and racial differences. I lived in New Jersey. The neighborhood was and the world were strictly segregated. So when I went to elementary school, 100% of the kids in my class were African American. And we knew the other parts of town. So I just grew up in a world that was segregated.
Born in New York City as the third of 4 children, Drake's family moved west when he was 8, making things a bit more complex.
When we moved to Sacramento, there was still segregation, but there was also integration. So it was, in many ways, more complicated. Instead of there just being, here's where you were, here's where they were, or whatever, there are people together, so there were more interfaces that one had to master.
The way he navigated it, focusing on education, graduating from Sacramento's McClatchy High School at 16, then attending City College before transferring to Stanford, then UCSF for medical school. He married his college sweetheart. They have 2 sons and 4 grandchildren. Already under his nearly 2-year tenure, the most diverse class ever graduated from UC last spring, and the most diverse class ever was admitted this spring. But he makes it clear it's no solo effort.
It's not, it's really all of us working together, but it's the right thing.
And when it comes to helping others, a fishing experience years ago with his father and brother left him with an important mantra.
And he was casting out, and he took a step, and it was kind of muddy where he was stepping, and he started to kind of lose his balance. And I reached over and kind of grabbed his shirt and gave it a little tug, and that was enough to help him get his balance. And I think of that because it means that a little bit of effort at the right time in the right place with the right leverage can make a difference.
And what a difference he has made.
Another meaningful memory from Dr. Drake working at Tower Records back in high school. His love of music is still evident through his role on the Rock and Roll Hall of Fame Board of Directors.
Yeah, an awesome guy. Incredible interview with him.
That was great. That was fantastic.
Thank you. Well, now to Rancho Cordova. City leaders made history last year when they selected their first African-American mayor.
Born in Sacramento, his grandfather a Tuskegee Airman, his grandmother a talented pianist. His Air Force Staff Sergeant father was the first African-American teacher hired by the San Juan School District.
My family thought that education was the key to growth.
In college, Gatewood helped start the computer science and computer animation programs at Chico State. He graduated and started his own IT company where he now works to train minorities in the tech field. Then, after the sudden passing of a Rancho Cordova City Council member, Gatewood was put into public office.
I'm now the first African American. I don't think they realized what they did was that they've actually integrated the city and put a different face, which we've never had before, because at that point, we'd only had white males and females.
But Gatewood still recalls times when his mixed race wasn't so welcome.
I used to go on long bike rides in the Chico Redding area, and I got chased in a truck being called the N-word and thrown stuff at. I've had stuff been pushed over. I have different levels because once they find out that I'm black that I have to overcome.
But he doesn't let it stop him. Instead, Gatewood focuses on supporting other minority-owned businesses and youth sports in the city he's proud to call home.
There's so much responsibility and role that I now have to play because I'm the first of this. And I want to be a trendsetter and a trailblazer so that more people of color will be in council or be the next mayor of Rancho.
He is definitely a trendsetter. Rancho Cordova has a rotating mayor-vice mayor system where each council member actually serves for a year. So Garrett Gatewood's term ended in December.
Stick with us. Still ahead, Black-owned breweries teaming up now to promote acceptance and knowledge. The project by Oak Park Brewery spreading a powerful message on a can. Welcome back. One Sacramento business is using suds to celebrate its heritage. Here's KCRA 3's Jason Marks with a unique approach to celebrating Black history.
Today is a big day.
Big days at Oak Park Brewing.
This is the 2022 edition.
Usually involve empty aluminum and a conveyor belt.
Let's rock and roll, man.
But while the lids are going on,
here you go.
This is the best way to convey a message.
How important is today?
Yeah, how important?
I think it's a pretty significant day.
We're doing probably almost 3 times what we normally do in a single day, so it's going to take a lot longer. But the importance of this project is what makes it really exciting.
Every February, Oak Park brewers team up with other Northern California breweries.
This is huge for us. Last year was really impactful, so we're looking to have the same impact on the larger scale this year.
They create beer that quenches a thirst for acceptance.
This project consists of 4 Black-owned breweries.
Raj Little is the co-owner of Oak Park Brewing.
You know, who doesn't like beer?
And there aren't many out there like him in the business.
In the craft beer world, Black brewery ownership and Black brewers are less than 1%. So, you know, why not do this?
The bar's motto is simple, and that powerful message hanging there for all to see.
Kinfolk, beer has never been about black or white, so chill out and have a cold one.
On every can,
representation matters.
A face of a movement, someone whose impact is still being felt.
This is Mary Ellen Pleasant. So she was a professional capitalist.
And Bessie Coleman.
She was the first pilot noted before Amelia Earhart. Robert Abbott was the creator of the Chicago Defender. And Frederick McKinley Jones, he patented the first refrigerator.
Brewers hope this opens a can of dialogue.
It's just a matter of bringing people together over really good beer.
Having a discussion over a beer and figuring out what to do next.
Because in here,
American history and Black history are the same.
For photojournalist Brian Fong.
Does anybody want to try the beer?
Jason Marks, KCRA 3 News.
And we are told Oak Park Brewing plans to keep it going next year by inviting even more Black-owned breweries to participate in that project.
Well, a group of businesses are banding together to build Black wealth and success. KCRA 3's Brittany Hope introduces us to what's called Sacramento's Black Wall Street.
Retail, services. Welcome to Florence Square. Behind these doors,
Sacramento's Black Wall Street.
More than 200 businesses, organizations, and nonprofits call this building and each other home.
Our journals and our puzzles.
Most of them are Black owned.
I think it's very important because we have so much talent in terms of people who are creative people, and they've never really had an avenue to share their gifts. And so we try to give them that opportunity.
It's the reason Betty Davis moved her business here.
It's a picture of when we first started, before I had all the gray hair that I have now.
The store full of African-American products is so much more than retail.
My father was a Tuskegee Airman and a pilot during World War II.
She educates her customers and interns with her displays, too.
I usually advertise saying Culture Collection celebrates Black History Month every month.
The message echoed by many here at Florence Square, celebrated along its walls and inside its shops.
This is our Black corner, if you will.
Tracy Shaw owns Crowder's Variety Store.
A labor of love because we've not only grown, but we've watched all of Florence Square kind of start to prosper and grow.
Across the hall is All Things Literacy bookstore. As you go further inside, clothing racks, an oil and spice store, jewelry shop.
Most of our clothing here is handmade in Ghana.
Goods from Africa and hair products.
We have lots of braiding hair.
If you want it, you can probably find it here.
It's important to support Black-owned businesses, especially local Black-owned businesses, because as you know, it's harder for us to get financing. So when the community is supporting us, it's helping us to build.
To build not only community inside this building, but build Black wealth, culture, and success for generations to come.
What we're trying to do is create kind of the epicenter of Black commerce here at Florence Square.
In Sacramento, Brittany Hope, KCRA 3 News.
And Florence Square also hosts Sacramento's African Marketplace every first and third Saturday of the month.
Great to see it thriving. When we come back, a Sacramento bookstore honoring Black culture and authors with the books on its shelves and more. An artist from Kentucky is using her gift to serve her community. Jalen Stewart is her name. She paints portraits and murals. She was inspired by her family, which is full of artists. She started painting portraits of crime victims in 2013. It was therapeutic for her and a way to show support for the victims' families.
The most positive thing in this world to me right now is how the world and people are trying to be open to Black individuals and Black people's, their talents, our voices, anything, everything that we do, how we walk, how we talk, how we dress, how we raise our children, how we interact with each other.
She is so talented. Today, Jalen owns her own studio. Last year, she received the Louisville Visual Art Emerging Artist Award.
Congratulations to her.
Congrats. A Sacramento bookstore is making a big difference with its programs and the products it sells.
KCRA 3's Brittany Hope takes us inside underground books in Sacramento's Oak Park.
In the heart of Oak Park is Underground Books, a Black-owned bookstore in Sacramento. And
it's one of the few that's across the nation. And with that, we thrive.
Cassandra Jennings is the president and CEO of St. Hope. The nonprofit has one goal:
to revitalize Oak Park through education and community economic development.
They own and run Underground Books, the Guild Theater next door, and support the many Black-owned businesses in this 40 acres area. The bookstore opened its doors in 2003 to fill this gap. This is a map of the city of Sacramento's public libraries. As we zoom into Oak Park, you can see there aren't any here. The brick and mortar lifts up the community with programming, free books, internships, and jobs.
If people don't benefit, if the community doesn't benefit, then we're doing something wrong.
Although this Black History Month display is up now, Underground honors Black culture, heroes, history, authors, and artists year-round.
It wasn't available to me as a child, and I would really say even as my kids were growing up, you just didn't have all of those books that showed me or talked about my hair or it's okay for a variety of, for all different colors of skin.
Showing representation matters, especially after an increasingly challenging few years.
It has particularly been exhausting for people of color, especially Black people. As we were fighting for equity, as we address injustices, when COVID hit, it just put a knee on our neck, right?
We asked her message for this Black History Month.
I want us to be reminded of the resiliency of our race. That while we think that we are in a difficult situation, just think about our forefathers.
Lifting up community, never forgetting where you came from, and helping others. Cassandra Jennings says that's what Underground Books is all about.
And to me, that's Black excellence.
Reporting in Sacramento, Brittany Hope, KCRA 3 News.
So if you want to support Underground Books and other Black-owned businesses in our area, just pull out your phone, hold up your camera to this QR code. Right now on the KCRA 3 app, we have a list of Black-owned businesses in our region.
Fantastic. And we want to thank everybody for joining us for our KCRA 3 Project Community Special celebrating Black history.
Have a great night.